Have you ever felt like your life may not be going according to plan? I'd love to hear from you if it has, because I love hearing those stories too. But many of us live in a place where our life just doesn't go according to that dream and that plan. When the future you imagined kind of starts to disappear, when you're left trying to figure out how to provide for your family, or when you're forced to start over from the ground up. This week on the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast, I sit down with an extraordinary woman whose story is a powerful reminder that our greatest challenges can become also our greatest purpose. Tisha Janigian, founder of SHE IS HOPE LA and SHE IS HOPE Realty, shares her incredible journey from navigating divorce, financial uncertainty, and the very real possibility of homelessness to creating an organization that now helps empower and support single mothers throughout Los Angeles. What began as her own struggle to survive became a mission to ensure other women never have to walk that journey alone. In this very heartfelt conversation, Tisha opens up about resilience, motherhood, entrepreneurship, finding the courage to begin again, and the importance of asking for help when you need it most. She truly reminds us that success isn't built overnight. It's built one decision, one act of courage, and one step forward at a time. And you can read more about her entire journey beyond just this podcast in the new book, Today is the Day, Live It, where I have helped to bring 31 of us, including myself, together to share these moments, that one decision. You can find the book on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart.com, and many other online retailers. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, if you've ever questioned your worth, and if you've ever wondered whether it's too late to start over, this episode is truly for you. Because hope it's more than a feeling. It's a choice, it's a mindset, and it also happens to be my middle name for real. Listen now to this inspiring conversation with Tisha and discover why her chapter in Today's the Day, Live It is titled the way it's titled. And I'm not going to share the title with you because I want you to go take a look at that book. It is available, Kindle version, paperback, and soon hardcover. If this episode speaks to you, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and connect with us on social media. Facebook and Instagram, Today is the Day, Live It. On YouTube, Today is the Day, Changemakers. We want to be considered one of your favorite podcasts, so make sure to please subscribe. These conversations with changemakers around the globe are really, truly impactful. Because at Today's the Day, we believe that connection isn't just a soft skill. Connection is the work. And when we connect through our stories, our struggles, and our shared humanity, we create the possibility for meaningful change. Until next time, remember, today is the day. And ask yourself the question, how am I going to live it? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I'm your host, Jodi Hope Grinwald, and as I say, every single episode, I interview the changemakers, the inspirers, and those who are disrupting the status quo in the best way possible. I got that down. Tisha, I got that down, right?
It's amazing. I'm very impressed. You're a woman on a mission, and I can appreciate that.
I'm so happy. Finally, Tisha Janigian. Did I say it right?
Janigian. It's okay. It's close.
We were trying right before, right? But Janigian.
It's a doozy.
No, it's really not. But people get mine wrong. I say this all the time. It's Grinwald, and you can't get any clearer. But Grinwald, Griswold, everything. So Tisha Janigian.
Janigian, hard G.
Hard G. All right. I'm going to have it down by the end of this podcast episode.
Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Well, I just want to let the audience know Tisha is just an incredible human, and I'm so excited that we finally are sitting down for this conversation. What an incredible journey she has been on. I'm going to read a little of her bio, then we're going to get into it. Okay, Tisha?
Great.
So Tisha is the president and founder of SHE IS HOPE LA, broker and owner of SHE IS HOPE Realty. Which is a nonprofit. SHE IS HOPE LA is a nonprofit dedicated to educating and empowering single mothers, inspired by her own journey after divorce in 2012, when she faced life with no money, credit, or assets. Then she built SHE IS HOPE LA to provide the tools she once needed herself, offering a hand up. And I love that. Not a handout, a hand up rather than a handout. And I love that. She's also the owner and broker of SHE IS HOPE REALTY, a full service California brokerage handling residential, commercial, luxury, and investment transactions with a percentage of all commissions supporting her nonprofit. And we're going to get into this conversation because there's so much packed in here. It's pretty incredible. And Hope is my middle name. So
Yes,
yeah, so I fell in love immediately with your work, and that word is so vitally important. Before we
it
get
is.
started, what is your definition of hope?
Ooh, my definition of hope is that you can always get through it. You know what I mean? Like there's always some way that you can make things happen. And actually, our name is an acronym. So She is Hope LA stands for Single Moms Housing and Empowerment, Inspiring Self-Confidence Through Hope, Opportunity, Perseverance, and Education in Los Angeles. So there's also that little acronym for hope for us as well.
And that's what's so beautiful. There's underlying meanings in all the things you do, just beautiful
Yeah.
underlying meanings. So thank you for letting us all know that. Before we even get started, where do people find out more information about your nonprofit?
You can find us on social media at She is Hope LA and on the online at sheishopela.org.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about young Tisha and where you grew. Where did you grow up? And as you were growing up, what did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
Oh, yeah. I thought I was going to be the president. I thought I was going to be an archaeologist. I grew up back in the Boston area. So, had the crazy winters every winter like you do in New Jersey and moved around a lot. My father was an entrepreneur, so we moved all around New England. We were and then also Texas for a bit. And then when I got engaged to my ex, I moved to LA with my parents. So, my dad was like, "Why did we hibernate every winter? Why weren't we out here earlier?" So we love LA. We did during the marriage, I moved to Arizona, Oklahoma, and now I'm back in LA as of 2012, and I love it.
Well, as you know, I was there for the very first time ever in my 54 years. And I'm like, why did I not come out there? I fell in love immediately with the weather. It was like,
Right?
and I came home to 16 degrees and then 2 feet of snow. So, yes, I
Yep.
understand.
You don't know what you don't know. That's why, you know what I mean? We didn't know better. Everyone would go down to Florida from the East Coast.
And that's too hot for me. So, yes,
Yes,
I think
muggy and
California will,
buggy.
yes, so buggy. Oh.
But it is
So,
beautiful. It has good places too.
oh yeah, it does. Of course it does. It's just that you get kind of light fall and nice summer in California. It's like
Right?
that's what I love about it. They sit
Exactly.
that sandwich is the summer in the center. You wake up, it's a little fall. You go to bed, it's a little fall, but the summer
Yeah,
in the middle of the day. It's amazing.
that's right.
So tell me, Tisha, you said that you thought you were going to be all of those things. What did you wind up right after high school? What was the direction you went into after
After high
college?
school, I went to Babson College, and that's an entrepreneurial college in Wellesley, Mass. Now Babson Park now. And I studied business, and I got a Bachelor of Science in Business Management with a minor in marketing, and then I went into retail management right after that. So, but I had helped my parents with their businesses. My dad is an or was an Oriental rug dealer, and so I always grew up saying, "Hey, my dad's a rug dealer," and they're all like, "Drug dealer," and I'm like, "No, no." Rug or carpet. So I've always done sales my whole life. You know, we were always going to flea markets and auctions and all these things and negotiating and all of that. So when I did move out here, I actually was doing the antique business and rugs and things of that nature. And then I left everything to help my ex with his practice. But my dad years ago told me to get into real estate. He said, "You've done sales all your life. Why don't you take it to the next level?" So I took him up on it. And in 2015, I got my real estate license. And then in 2019, I became a broker because you need to do it 4 years part-time or 2 years full-time to become a real estate broker. And that same summer, we launched She is Hope LA. So they're kind of like sister organizations. And this is truly my passion. So, I wouldn't change anything. Yes, it was a difficult marriage and going through divorce, and it was not pleasant, but it gave me my passion project and how I can help others because I've been there and done that. So I know how to take people up on my journey as I'm going.
So I know that it was a difficult journey, and even in your bio, it talks about potential homelessness and
Yeah.
dealing with things. So can we talk a little bit about what happened, to share with the audience members that
Sure.
could be listening in any part of the world. And I want to thank all of the listeners from 137 countries for listening to this podcast and downloading. But you just don't
Yes,
know that one person that might listen to this, you might be able to help them because they're in the middle of what you had been through. So if you
of
could take us on
course.
that journey a little bit.
Of course. And and that's a big deal because when I was going through it, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to share my story or talk about it. I was just trying to survive. So I had moved back to LA in 2012. We were in Arizona at the time, and my folks were like, you know what, move to LA. It'll give you and the boys a better chance at getting things done and giving them a brighter future. And, so I went ahead and came out for a day with my dad. We went all around the San Fernando Valley because that's where we had lived previously when I first moved out here. And no one wanted to touch me with a 10-foot pole because I had no money, no credit, no assets, no job, and really wasn't getting anything formal for the childcare and all that stuff because it was still in the process of the divorce. So I looked terrible on paper, but the very last stop that day, this woman looked at my dad and I and said, looking at you both, I feel like I should take a chance on you. And because of her, I was able to move here. Otherwise, I would not have been able to. So this is what we do with a nonprofit and real estate. We try to find people that will take chances on others, especially when it comes to housing, until we can get our own building. But so I moved in 2 weeks later, started looking for full-time roles. I couldn't afford childcare because my parents were still stuck in Arizona and couldn't sell their house. And so I had no help with that. And I was volunteering at the school a lot, thinking, what else am I going to do here? And they tried to grandfather me in with teaching because I love kids, but it was going to require a degree and I couldn't afford to go back to school. So I started looking for part-time work and they told me I was overqualified because I had a bachelor's degree and I wouldn't stick around. And I interviewed and interviewed and volunteered and volunteered. I finally landed a merchandising job for a couple of hours a week. And my food stamp benefits went down from $200 a month to about $10 a month. And I thought I'd make more staying home, but I wouldn't get anywhere with my career. So I took the leap of faith, took the job, and started sharing my story then because we were really even more in survival mode. So because I did that, a lot of the parents at the elementary school my kids were attending at the time gave me babysitting jobs, pet sitting jobs, told me about focus groups, and I was getting things free off of like Craigslist and Free Cycle and Buy the Dumpster and reselling it just to make ends meet. And I was on low income discounts for utilities. I still was barely making it and struggling. And after 6 months, I came to a point where I wasn't going to be able to pay the rent, and I thought, oh boy, here we go. The Section 8 waiting lists were years long, and I just didn't know what we were going to do. And I had an opportunity, a promotion became available with the job that I was at, and I went for it. And I did the interview. They knew I had been working with the company about 6, 7 months by then, and they went ahead and they offered me the promotion, and they gave me a certain amount, and I went, that would be nice, but more would be better. Because at that point, I started understanding my worth. Before that, I didn't. And believe it or not, they came back with a little bit of a higher figure. And I'm like, you got it, I'm in. And I was so grateful for that opportunity because it was more of a job like out of a car. So it was very flexible and I could be there for my kids when they were sick or if they had field trips and I would just manipulate my schedule to go out later or whatever. And then my parents were able to sell their house at a loss and they had retired early for me. They gave up so much for me. I'm an only child, so they were able to move back. Somehow we qualified for a home together. Flipped that in 2 years. I bought them something out further and I went back to an apartment so my kids could be in a good school district. And then that doubled in 6 years, their house, and was able to sell that and buy the house that we're in now. So my parents are in the junior ADU attached to the house. And then we're helping another single mom and her child as well. And then my boys have their own room for the first time in 18 years. So it's been a journey. I'm still on it. But because I've lived it, I know how to give back. And so we launched SHE is Hope LA. I had all my friends trying to help me out with the title. They were saying, call it the Hive. You can be the queen bee. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And now I got a book on how to start a, nonprofit in LA from Amazon. And I was like trying to figure everything out. And I did it. And together we came up with this beautiful name. And then when I opened the brokerage, we thought, well, let's just make it SHE is Hope Realty so people understand that we're sister companies and we'll donate a portion of our commissions to help sustain a nonprofit because it's so hard to get funding, as you know, as a fellow nonprofit owner. We don't want to just rely on that. We're looking to open a thrift store again, get an apartment building for our single mamas to give them that break that I needed when I was starting over and help them build even more of a community. We have a beautiful community now, but it could be even tighter. So, and then we want to expand it across the country and internationally because single moms aren't just here. So I'm working on my Arizona real estate license now. So that's next.
Y- So somebody's listening going, wow, she just doesn't stop. She's
No.
got so much motivation. And I don't, maybe that person doesn't feel the same. They might not have that same push. I'm sure there's some single mamas out there you've met that they're exhausted. Like
Oh, yeah.
they're tired and it feels sometimes like you can't give up, but you're exhausted and you're at the end.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for them?
And I get it, and I know that it's like you're in survival mode. You're just trying to get food in your kids' mouths and keep a roof over their heads. And you don't know what you don't know. Like we were saying earlier, you don't know where to get help. I didn't. I was just literally just trying to get by and pay the expenses. And there's, a few things out there. We provide resources like that. But you know what? If you feel like that, this is why we have She Is Hope LA. You are not alone. So many of the stories are very similar. There's different dynamics, of course, but most of the stories have the same basis. A lot of these women were with classic narcissists. Some are domestic violence. Some are widows. Some are, weren't even married. They just need that community and support and sisterhood, which is what we bring, and then the kids get to see their moms doing better through the programs that we offer, like basic resources, food, clothing. When we sell homes, we give furniture to people in need. We jumped into wildfire relief last year and we're furnishing homes for people that lost their homes. So we just give back to everyone in the community, single dads too. So, but single moms it's my niche right now because I know what to do for them. And so we just provide, but I need these mamas and anyone listening to know you're not alone. And there's people out there that want to help you, but they don't know how to help you unless we know what you need. So you need to speak up and share your story.
What about the person that might still be in the bad relationship and
Mm.
and doesn't have you obviously had the guts to move on, right? That to go and do it. And you meet a lot of women that have done that, but
Yes.
there are more that are going to be coming your way or want to come your way or are going to be single moms because unfortunately the divorce rate is high and the
Yes.
separation rate is too high. Um,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to leave and what to do and how to even begin the journey. Do you have any advice for them?
That's where I would start reaching out to organizations like She Is Hope LA. And so each area, we get calls from across the country already now, and we'll give them resource lists and the little ebooks that I wrote for, Single Mom Survival Guide and Eating Healthy on a Budget, which I clearly need to revisit since COVID. And credit repair tips and things like that. So there's things that you just need to get the information and learn how to move ahead. So many moms jump out of it, which is fine. You know what I mean? You have to get out of a situation when you do, but if you can prepare a little bit better or do it in a way that helps protect you and the kids, there's ways to do that. So reaching out to organizations like She's Hope LA and finding what resources there are and what their individual needs are will cater to them or the other organizations will. There's help out there. You just need to know where to look. And so organizations like our nonprofit can help guide you to the right resources and also hold your hand through the process because it is scary and it's not fun. And it's good to have people that understand and that can walk you through that.
Absolutely. You're also one of the 31 authors of the book behind me. Today is the day. Live it.
I know.
I know. I'm so excited
It's
about
so
that.
exciting. Everybody's been telling me to write my story down, and I'm like, whatever. And I finally, when I had the opportunity, when Kat introduced me to you, I was like, it's time to get the word out there about what we're doing on a bigger level. And I appreciate being part of this and being on your journey because meeting all of these change makers that you found, including what you do, has been so rewarding and so joyous. And I think it's so important for people to know, that there's always something you can do, to never feel defeated. Well, everyone feels defeated once in a while, and that's normal. We're like tacos, we fall apart, but everyone loves them still. So it's okay.
I love that. I have never heard that one before. I love that. I'm borrowing that.
And it's okay. Everyone has their moments. I still do once in a while. We're human, right? But overall, it's like you want to focus on keep your eyes on the prize is the other thing I always say. Like, where do you want to be? Don't lose that vision. And I think that's super important. Like, and I always say that together we make a bigger impact. That's my statement in the book, because it's not just about me or just our nonprofit. It's about doing things together. And you've put together an incredible group of people in this book. And I'm so honored to be a part of this and love being able to get my story out there. So thank you for doing that.
Oh,
It's a
thank
beautiful
you.
vision.
Thank you so much for being a part of it. Do you remember the name of your chapter?
Yes, from suitcase to success. One of my volunteers, a newer volunteer, I was sharing my story with her, and she goes, "You literally went from suitcase to success." And I'm like, "I like that." And so when we were trying to figure out a title, I'm like, "I'm going to use that." But it's hard to write about yourself. And, my first draft, I sent it in. You're like, you can make it longer. And I was like, oh, I have to write more about myself. And so, but I did, and I'm glad because I think it gives people a lot more details about what I went through. I actually have been giving the book as gifts, and people are loving hearing more of my story and learning more about me, but they're also so impressed with all of the other authors. I know I am. It's just I'm blown away by the impact that everyone is making on our world.
It is. It's been an amazing journey. I want to help other first-time authors get
Yes.
themselves published too, because it was
Yes.
something I was like, I'm not a writer. I don't even know where to begin. And then I'm like, okay, let me find 30 people that want to join me in this craziness and believe in me enough that will like say, yes, I'll get on this journey with her, even though she has zero experience in doing this. And you know what? We did it. We did it. We had two
Yeah.
launches, and they were super fun, and I plan on doing it again,
Yeah, you should.
because it was so
You did
great.
a great job. Like, you can't tell that it was your first time. You were very organized and very professional about how you handled this. I was really impressed. You made it easy. And I highly recommend people to reach out to you to share their stories. I'm trying to recruit some more people for your next book because I think this is just, it's beautiful.
Thank you. You know what it is today is the day, just like you creating that community with She is Hope LA. Today's the day is that community of change makers, people who want, as I opened with, make a
Yes.
difference, the change makers, the inspirers, those disrupting the status quo. When you
Mhm.
find those people, you get into, that flow. And I feel like a lot of times in our life, we don't even realize how disconnected we are to one thing and the ripple effect it has in
Yes.
things you don't even realize.
Right.
And so once you can find what it is that makes you feel like you're in your flow, when you
Yeah.
speak about these things and the nonprofit and your real estate agency, you can you exude, right? And you could stay up all night working, right? Because that energy is
Yes. I was last night. Actually all week. But you know what? I love what I do, and it's not tedious when you are when you do what you love, and that's the other thing. So when I talk to mamas too, when they're starting over and sometimes they've left a job or left their partner, I'm like, what have you always wanted to do? It's never too late to chase your passion. Never. So,
it
I mean, listen, I
isn't.
was 45 when I started over with nothing. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. So it's always an opportunity. But yeah, I love this. And it's funny how you're saying the ripple effect. That dinner that we had together for the West Coast launch, we were all saying how we were all so intertwined and had so many things in common. And then that one gentleman was saying how nice it would be to get this book into the hands of students so that they can learn how to make changes and continue that ripple effect and that pay it forward and making a bigger impact together. And I love that idea. And I know you're working on that, so it's exciting.
Yes, he donated $1,000, Jim. If you're listening, thank you so much for
Thank you.
for uh for me to be able to provide 50 books. And right now we're in the midst of figuring out where those books are going to go.
Good.
Because it is very, very important. I think being a teenager now, because we're looking at, like upper, like middle school to high school age students or even college.
Yeah.
And we're looking at like, it's hard growing up in such a fast-paced environment,
Yes.
and the feeling of acceptance and not reaching goals and can I start over. You mentioned you started at 45. I've been doing this stuff pretty much around almost the same, but I published the first book at 54, and a chapter of one anyway, and I guess I had three chapters. But putting all of this together, it's never too late. I spoke at an event, as a coach. I spoke at an event, and a woman came up to me. She was 65. She said to me, "I've always wanted to get my bachelor's degree, so I'm back in school, and I
Love it.
have to I have to interview someone for my journalism class. Would you be
Oh,
willing to be?" And I was like,
I
It
love
was
that.
such, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
so she's like, I just want to get my bachelor's degree. She was already retired from working, but that wasn't the point. She just wanted that paper. And
Yes.
it's never, never too late.
In a world where trust drives decisions and relationships matter more than transactions, disconnection is something businesses simply cannot afford. I'm Jodi Hope Grinwald, a leadership and connection strategist, and my work is different because I don't offer just a single framework or surface level fix. I bring an entire ecosystem built on connection with me. I work across leadership, career transition, teams, and client relationships, helping organizations rebuild trust where it may be strained and design their work so disconnection doesn't happen in the first place. Because when one link is off, it affects everything, and sustainable growth depends on keeping those connections strong. To learn more or inquire about me speaking at any of your events, reach out to me at Jodi, Jodi, at todayisthedayliveit.com.
I want to go back to the starting of the nonprofit because a lot of people want to start nonprofits. A lot of people have started nonprofits.
Yes.
If you were to give advice to someone on a mistake you made that if you could turn back time, you would have done a little differently, maybe teach them a little bit of something that you wish you knew then that you know now, what do you think that would be?
I think it would be collaborating with other nonprofits. And we're actually working on a mastermind for smaller nonprofits to put their heads together because there's always little things that you miss. You know what I mean? Like for me, there was something with the Attorney General I wasn't aware I needed to do. It wasn't in the book. And so we were like, we're scrambling trying to get that done. So it was something minor, but it was big enough where we had to address it right away. And, getting board members that are like working board members, but it's tough because they're volunteer, right? So I don't like to push people too hard when they're giving their time free, but yet I'm also recognizing I'm doing it all. And my body has taken its toll. So that was my message on last month's Mama Talks because the speaker was late. And I said, listen, don't do what I did. Make sure you do put yourself first. Like think about your health, find that balance and give, and find people that can help you, uplift the nonprofit that you're doing together that have the same vision. And I'm lucky where I do have that, but like I said, we don't pay anybody. So um, it's been tough. But this year, I actually did bring someone in to take some of that burden off us. So we actually are paying someone now to help with events, PR, and social media. And I brought on someone to help me with the real estate, and I'm trying to get that breath so that I can grow this across the country because I can't keep doing everything myself. We're not going to grow that way. So I was balancing that full-time role just until 3 years ago with the nonprofit and the real estate and a single mom and being an only child. And I hurt my back at the job and my knees and everything else. Like I'm falling apart. And it took me to get hurt at that job to believe in myself enough to practice what I preach to my moms to just do the real estate and the nonprofit. So I don't get anything from the nonprofit. So I've really had to kick it into gear with real estate, but it's happened. The first couple of years were a little slow, and then last year was really great. And it's all the referrals and all the people that I've been working with all these years that see my heart and know I'll take care of them and that we will guide them through because, buying and selling a house is big and scary. It's like the biggest transaction you're going to make. And you want someone that's going to be able to walk you through that and help you through whatever it takes. So it is an honor to work with clients of all sorts, even leasing, relocating. We do all of it. But the buying and selling, it's very emotional for people. And you want someone that gets it and that can protect you and help you make the right choices. And then what's even better, we donate a portion of what we get to the nonprofit. So you're making a difference in your communities, which is cool. So, but that would be, I guess, my advice. Sorry, I go off on tangents because I love what I'm doing. But
No, it's so good because I can feel the energy and the others listening from around the world will be able to feel your energy as well. A couple of things I can go in so many directions here, but I used to work 60 to 80 hour work weeks, and
yeah,
the burnout is real.
yes,
And if you don't listen, your body forces you to listen.
yep, that's right. That's what I've got going on now.
Yeah. And I had the same thing 2 years, almost 2 years ago, not 2 years, about a year and a half ago, I had to have major surgery. So your body
Mm,
it can only take so much
right.
before so it is about being kind to yourself. I know a lot of people feel like, well, I can't make the doctor appointment because of the fact that I have 7 appointments today and I'm going to have to push the doctor appointment off. And I am learning the word no.
Yeah,
I'm learning the word now.
me
They
too. It's
say it's a full,
hard,
yeah,
but I'm
and they
doing
say
it
it's a full
too.
sentence,
It
and it is
is.
a full sentence.
That's true. When I had joined, when I started my brokerage, I joined like everything. I was in all the committees and all the things, and but I loved it and I made great connections and I'm grateful. I wouldn't change that, but it was too much. You know what I mean? And I was saying yes to everything. I wasn't saying no. So this last year and a half, I've been working on that NO word and and growing and glowing and growing is what I say. And it is okay because you have to practice. It's those boundaries I talk about with the mamas. I have not had great ones. And still I'm working on that, but it's a better balance I'm finding and doing things with my family. And we had talked about for years going to Europe. I was finally able to financially and time-wise, because I'm self-employed, take my kids to Europe for in January for New Year's. And I'm like, that was a dream come true. And I'm like, wow, I'm making it. Like each step is like a milestone. And I still, have more that I want to achieve. But like that was a big deal for us. And I really want my kids to travel and see the world and open their eyes and expand their minds. And we did. And I'm just so happy I could do that for them.
And when you're in the thick of it, right? We're in those moments where are we going to get the food? Where are we going to get the things we need? How are we going to make it happen? Seeing a trip to Europe was not probably ever a vision of
Yeah.
any sort. It was a dream that you
Yes.
may not have thought, right? That could come true.
Right.
What what would you say was like kept you going the entire time to keep going to that next thing and that next thing and that next thing?
It was keeping my eyes on the prize, but also my sons. My children are the ones that give me the strength and the discipline because I want to provide for them. I want to give them a better life. I don't want them to make the same mistakes that I made. So I want to be a good example for them and also be their support, their mom and their friend. It's kind of a hard balance, right? But, you want to be everything for them, but you just want to see them do better. And they have given me the strength to do all of this. Seriously. I think when I was going through the divorce initially, I think if I was just alone, I've said this multiple times, I think I would have just given up and been homeless. You know what I mean? It was that hard, but looking at these boys' faces, I was like, I can't, I brought them into this world. I need to take care of them. And I need to show them if you work hard enough, you can make your dreams come true. So that's what we've been doing.
It hits me every time you say they finally have their own rooms 18 years
I
later.
know. Yeah, it was a
Oh,
big deal. I was in the living room in the one apartment. They were in the bedroom in bunk beds, or two separate beds, like, depending on what we got free at the time. I mean, we literally had everything used forever, and now it's just been nice to be able to give them what they need. They each even have a car, and they each got their real estate licenses last year because I want them to continue this legacy. They know how far we've come, but they also know how far we need to go. But I know when I'm gone, I want them to continue what we're doing because it's important work. And they understand that. And I'm so grateful. They're both incredible young men. And I just love them so much. And I'm so proud of them.
I got to meet them. They are wonderful young men, and
Yeah.
they love their mama. So that's
Yeah.
what's so it's so beautiful. How, if anybody wants to work with you, where can they go and find your agency?
Yeah, on the website, it's sheishopela.org. There's a volunteer form there, there's a donating form there, there's a single mom intake form there. Everything you could possibly need is on there. And then you could also reach out to me directly at Tisha at sheishopela.org. So
And that's for the agency as well, the real estate agency.
Tisha at sheishoperealty.com is the real estate one.
Okay.
So you can reach
What,
me at
what,
either one. It's fine. I do it all with both, but yes, anything you need with real estate, we've got you. And I have a great team. Some of them are single moms that we were able to get scholarships from. Some are friends that I've known forever. And it's amazing. We have a really beautiful team. It's like a family, the real estate brokerage. It really is. And this last year, we had a big party together with the real estate brokerage and the nonprofit board of directors. And we had a big party. We went axe throwing, something I always wanted to try. And they had a blast, and it was just so fun to be able to do that finally too, because it's been a journey, doing a lot with a little, all this time, and we're starting to finally get momentum, and we're starting to be seen too by the community and by the politicians. So I've been working with them and sharing what our thoughts are and what we'd like to do in our area, including a community nonprofit hub. So I saw this in another county, and I presented it to a local council member, local congresswoman, assembly member and county supervisor. So I've been just approaching everyone because they see me with the real estate in this real estate world and now with the nonprofit world, and they're supporting us. And they love the idea. So if they could provide an office building, we have all these nonprofits in one building. Their constituents don't need to go to one office for one day. You know how it is. Like my moms will spend all day at one office. So if we could have one building with all of them together, it would be such a beautiful thing for constituents and for the community. So we're working on that. And then, of course, I need to get the apartment building for the moms or hotel and then a thrift store again because with the food bank that we do. Because we feed everyone in the community with food. We do pickups with Whole Foods, with Food Cycle LA. We partner with other nonprofits to make that bigger impact. And it's nice because we're able to provide healthy food, which is a change from what these people normally see. So it's
100%. I know that we're Facebook friends, and I see sometimes you've got stuff in your own refrigerator that you are holding for other people, it looks like. Am I
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's a fridge I have outside. It's a community fridge outside. We have hygiene items out there, clothing out there, everything.
Oh, wow. See, this is a woman with tremendous heart. Tremendous heart. I mean, like you said about, I feel the same way. If you're looking for a home, relocating, whatever it need be, you would have a partner in that if you work with
Yeah.
Tisha. It's, unbelievable what you're doing. And also, I'm always curious to ask nonprofits, how did you go about finding your first board?
It was folks that I knew. They're all friends. And then they referred me to a few other people. So some were friends of friends and things, and some have similar hearts or have been single moms, and some just love to support. So we're growing. We're actually growing our board too. So if anyone's interested, they can always reach out too, because there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I need the help delegating all of it. But it was people that I knew that saw me grow, that saw what I was able to do and accomplish, and wanted to be part of the journey. So it's beautiful and I'm very grateful.
And I got to meet some of them. They actually were part of
Yes.
the forum.
Yeah,
It's wonderful. You have such a great group
I
of
know.
people in your corner there.
Yeah,
Is
I
there anything
do.
else you want to share that you want the listeners to know that we haven't covered today?
No, I think that's it. I think it's more about just never give up. Keep what is it that you was always wanted to do? Keep your eyes on the prize. Work together, collaborate. There's people out there that want to help you. And no matter what you're doing, even if you're starting a nonprofit, a real estate brokerage, or if you're single mom just trying to get out of a bad situation, people want to help. So it's about reaching out and not being afraid to share your story and knowing your worth. I think that's a big deal.
Huge. Before we go, can you share a success story of something that you can share with us about your nonprofit that you were
Oh,
able to
with the
help someone?
nonprofit, there's so many. So it's hard to just pick a couple. Like, so there's one that I put in the book. Some of these, like all the moms want to give back. When we're all in this community, it's a beautiful community. They help volunteer with me. They're at events with me. Some of them have started nonprofits on their own, which I love. Some have started their own businesses. So I'm a big fan of entrepreneurship. And in LA, it's hard to get by with just one job. So I'll be like, so what do you always want to do? Let's make that a little side hustle, and I'll put them in touch with different organizations and we'll help with their business plans and things like that and just get them started. So I they're all good. Like every woman with story that we've worked with is incredible. Like I'm so proud of all of these women that have reached out and that are part of us and they all give back. And that's the thing. It's so sweet and it's really wonderful.
Well, they see you and you're the example. You've set an incredible example. They're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to do this too. How do she went through all this stuff and look what she's doing. I want to help too. So that's a beautiful thing. Any upcoming events?
Yeah, we actually have our annual spring fashion show. We always do it around Mother's Day. We have our moms and kids strut down the catwalk and feel good because a lot of times moms just get into the everyday rut. And I know I did. You just don't put makeup on. You just want to wear sweats and you just forget to take care of yourself. So this is a day that we have for our mamas to feel strong, resilient, powerful, remember who they were, and to feel like a queen for the day. So we have their hair done, their makeup done. We work with local designers and they walk down the runway. That's on May 17th. And then we always do a backpack giveaway in the summer. Usually we collaborate with another local partner, in the city. And then we're going to have a fall gala. These are always themes. Like this fashion show is old Hollywood. It's like black and white glam. Then we're going to have the gala for the fall is going to be a Dancing with the Stars type of theme where we're going to teach people how to dance and just have fun. And then we do the turkey dinner distribution every Thanksgiving, usually with a local council member. And then we do an annual toy distribution around the holidays to get people through that. And then sometimes we'll throw some things in there. This Valentine's Day, we did a comedy show for moms and kids, and it was so fun. So anytime we can do things like that, we do. And then we'll partner with other organizations as needed. We worked with one of the local council members recently, did a community cleanup together. So there's always things going on. So if you're interested in getting involved or your kids need volunteer hours, let us know.
Wow. And that's
Yeah.
incredible. That's a long line of different opportunities when
Yeah.
you don't have a full team. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I will say that drives me just a little bit insane is how people don't realize what it takes to run a nonprofit.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's
It's a
full
lot.
time. It's more than a full-time job.
It is. And it's not looked at as the same as if you were like the CEO of Google.
Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, you've got no best practices. I always say this. There's no best practices. There's no timeline when you start.
Yeah.
You're starting from nothing. I
Yeah.
always look at people who do things like that differently because it takes a lot of courage and time and effort to just say, I'm going to do this because there's a need out there and start something
Yeah.
from nothing.
And it's your passion, and that gives me the strength too, because I see these moms in need and I'm like, oh, what can I do to make a difference and get them out of where I was, 14 years ago.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing all that you
Yeah,
do with your heart. I'm just so grateful to know you. And it all happened because I
likewise.
interviewed somebody that you knew and
Yeah,
they introduced us.
that's right. We're all
Thank you.
connected.
Thank you, Catherine Curry Williams, for that. I
Yes.
appreciate that. Yes, I always love shouting her out on
Yes,
here. Well,
right.
anything else before we go?
No, that's it. Thank you for all that you do, Jodi, and for putting this together. It's truly amazing, and I love your heart and what you do with your nonprofit, but also this book and the podcast and just getting the word out there. People need to hear this and to have hope. So, thank you.
They do. They do. My middle name, your name of your company, it's hope everywhere. Tisha,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you so much for everything. And I'm going to say what I say at the end of every single podcast. Today is the day. You cannot go back to yesterday, and you do not yet own tomorrow. So, what small things can you do, small or large, can you do? Steps that you can take right now, today. Today, what are those things? Make sure that you do them. It only takes one small change. And don't forget, purchase the book. You can get it online at barnesandnoble.com, walmart.com, amazon.com, and there's a Kindle version as well. Today is the day. Live it. Available online wherever books are sold. Bye, Tisha. Thank you for everything.
bye, Jodi. Thank you.